Is that one most importantly?
Well, it's my own personal flair. We'll
Okay.
call it an opinion. We're allowed to have those.
Yeah, you're allowed to have those. You can have at least 2 today if you want. I don't want to talk about how much whiskey I just got on my blazer.
Thanks for joining us for your dose of Weekly Whiskey with John and Jay.
Weekly Whiskey is made on Mackie. And if you'd like to find out more about the top-notch studio gear we're using, you can check them out on Mackie.com.
Hell yeah, Mackie is awesome. We love their gear. Let's go ahead and move on into the whiskey sphere, though. What are we talking about tonight, John?
So this is something we've kind of rolled around the idea of a few times here and there, discuss how we're going to best present it to the audience. But I think if we just keep it straightforward and we say, hey, these are the top 10 whiskeys that you need to try, you need to buy, you got to have these things, get them on your bar now, I think we'll get away with it. So what do you say? Let's dig in.
Yeah, I mean, people ask us for this all the time. What 10 whiskeys do we always have on hand? Do you need to have if you're starting a collection? We've got our 10, so let's rock on.
All right. First and foremost, let's talk about Stellum. They've got a bourbon and a rye offering, but let's put Stellum Rye at the top of the list just because I think it's so versatile. You got great rye character. You can drink this thing neat on the rocks, make cocktails. Definitely something you got to have. If you have not tried this yet, get a bottle of Stellum Rye.
All right, moving right along, we have Penelope's Rosé Cask Finish. I know it sounds interesting to hear Rosé Cask Finish, but the guys over at Penelope are actually sourcing their own rosé, so they can make their own rosé barrels. They can take their whiskey and put it in that rosé barrel for the Rosé Cask Finish. The first couple batches went super quick. I like this one. It's lighter. It's a little bit fruity, not too sweet, not too crazy. This one works perfectly neat. You can mix it if you want to, but the rosé does kind of work funny. And I think that if you're going to have an interesting wine finish on your bar, this is definitely the one, especially because you can find it everywhere. It's inexpensive, and you don't have to hunt for it.
I mean, not that you should be buying based on the look of a bottle, but if you were, holy shit, this one looks pretty cool too, right?
Yeah,
it's got the
you're not
glass
wrong.
topper on it. I mean, it's just a classy package. A lot of what Penelope's doing is good, and their pricing is super reasonable too, which I dig. Number 3 is Barrel Dovetail. So this is something from their Evergreen lineup. They have Dovetail, Armida, and Seagrass. You can't go wrong with any of these things, but definitely higher up on that list for stuff that you need to try is going to be Barrel Dovetail. This is a whiskey that's finished 3 ways, blended together masterfully, and just it will scratch an itch you did not know you had. This is something you need to try out.
Man, yeah. Barrel Dovetail is crazy. And speaking of itches that you didn't know you had, New Riff Bottled and Bond is always scratching that itch for me. New Riff came to Wisconsin, about 4 years ago. It's here every day, really affordably priced. I have not had a bad bottle of the New Riff Bottled and Bond yet. Jay Arisman, one of our favorite guests on the show. Every time I run out of one of these, guests love it. I'm off to the store to buy a new one.
Yeah, these are absolutely great. I love those. Awesome profile on all their products, but that Bottled and Bond is definitely their core lineup, and I really dig it. Sliding right along here, we're going to go to number 5, Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. I can't say enough about this product, man. I think we wrapped up 2020 by talking about bottles that we were thankful for, and this was one of them for me. It's just a 12-year, age-dated, uncut, unfiltered, barrel proof. Like, it does it all. And, SRP is like $60. I know that floats around a little bit, depending on the state you're in, availability-wise, price-wise, but holy shit, if you don't have Elijah Craig Barrel Proof on your bar, please do everybody a favor and go buy as many of them as you can, because you're going to like it. It's great for cocktails. It's great for sipping neat. It's great on the road. I like this. Really does. If you like bourbon, this is it.
Yeah, this is the quintessential bourbon. This is bourbon dialed up to 11. This thing has so much flavor. It's $80 here. I don't care. I always keep one around. But if you're looking for barrel proof, not on a budget, but for a few dollars cheaper, number 6, Jack Daniel's Single Barrel, barrel proof. People are going crazy for the selections on these. Those are some of the fastest selling barrels I've picked this year. But honestly, the shelf bottles are always great. I've not had a bad one in years. Probably the last one I had was 2016. So, we're 2021 now. Life is good. Jack Daniel's is consistent. They're about $55. Every store I know carries one. And this thing is just molten lava, banana, straight flavor. Don't tell me you drink this and you think it's thin. You don't think it has flavor, because this is just probably the most flavorful thing on the list tonight.
I don't have anything to add to that. Nicely done. Why don't we just go ahead and talk about number 7 in that case? Russell's Reserve Single Barrel. This is going to be one of those products that is getting a little bit more popular than I think we're quite ready for. It's disappearing a little bit in some areas, but it's still out there. It's still available. It's reasonably priced. This is going to be 110 proof, non-chill filtered wild turkey liquid. It is delicious whiskey that you need to be trying. if you haven't had this yet, or if you've been walking by it thinking that you might want something that's a few bucks cheaper, it's time for you to upgrade just a touch and try this one out.
Always good. You know, one of my favorite series. I compared like 50 of these. These things are killer, great value. You know, it's hard to go wrong with the Russells. Eddie Russell's name on it. He's picking these. They drink great. And it leads right into, you know, they're a nice high proof. They're around 110. If you want to kick it up a proof point or two, you know, head on over. We've got number 8 is Old Granddad 114. This was the hype product that wasn't. It's probably one of our favorite tales of everyone freaking out, thinking that, you know, years ago it was going to be discontinued. Everybody bought cases. It's still here today. You can buy it in pretty much any store. It's going to be about $30. This one is really great at being like a cocktail champ. If you want a nice, bold, you know, kind of peanut forward, oak forward dram that's going to work well in a cocktail, this is perfect. If you have guests that, you know, say they don't like Beam, give them this. I bet you'll change their mind.
I think you're right on that one. Let's slide over, look at number 9. We got Four Roses Single Barrel. This is cool. I mean, Four Roses Single Barrel selections, the barrel strength, you know, varying across 10 recipes are something that are wildly sought after. But if you want to have something that's just a little bit more available, easier to get into, the Four Roses Single Barrel is 100 proof. It's on the shelf all the time, reasonably priced. Definitely something worth digging into.
You know, this is probably the spiciest bourbon on the list. That nice high rye coming out of Four Roses. Really great flavor. Really enjoyed this one. This was one of my first bottles I ever picked up. Always lives on my bar. And much like kind of this newcomer, number 10 is Maker's Mark Cask Strength. So if you really like things like Old Well or Antique and you can't find it anymore and you want something that, quite frankly, I think is better, Maker's Mark Cask Strength is really rich, really viscous, has tons of great flavor without a huge cinnamon overload. And they just dropped the price on these by $20. They used to be $59.99. Now they're $39.99. They roll out 5 batches a year. I can't think of a better weeder coming out of Cask Strength that you can find any day. And honestly, I love comparing every single batch. I probably have every batch down to the early 2020, I think is when it started. And, you know, none of them are losers. These are all winners. Love to have them. When they run out, I make sure I get another one.
Yeah, I dig those a lot. I've always I know that some of the earlier batches were a little bit rougher, but even then I liked them though. And something that Makers doesn't really, in my opinion, do a great job of advertising is they don't chill filter any of their whiskey. Like, they don't need to have a little special sticker on there that says NCF for us enthusiasts to get excited about it. I mean, all of their stuff is released non-chill filtered, so you're going to get that heavier mouthfeel, those fatty acids. Like, if you want a full body bourbon, this is it.
Definitely. So, summing up, if you are looking for 10 bottles you need to start your bar. You need to keep around Stellum Rye, Penelope Rosé Cask Finish, Barrel Dovetail, New Riff Bottled and Bond, Elijah Craig Barrel Proof, pick any batch. They're all good. Jack Daniel's Single Barrel Barrel Proof, Russell's Reserve Single Barrel, Old Granddad 114, Four Roses Single Barrel, and most importantly, Maker's Mark Cask Strength.
Is that one most importantly?
Well, you know, that's my own personal fire. We'll call it an opinion. We're allowed to have those.
Yeah, you're allowed to have those. You can have at least 2 today if you want. Anyway, thanks, guys, for catching your dose of weekly whiskey with John and Jay.
Hell yeah. Thank you guys so much for joining us. If you enjoyed the content that we had tonight, if you're enjoying our other videos, the work we're doing, if you want to get some inside information into the world of whiskey or simply just join our community and talk to us about whiskey, you can totally do that. Join us over at patreon.com/thewhiskeynet.
That's right. You guys can catch up with our information on Discord as well. We're in there chatting pretty much every day. So if you want to get a little bit inside info, go ahead and join us there. And don't forget to check out our studio sponsor, Mackie. You can find them on Instagram at Mackie Gear or at Mackie.com.
Hell yeah. Mackey's making us sound great. We love everything that they're doing. They have some really cool products. Whether you're starting a podcast, whether you like live music, they have what you need. If you're looking for other information, you can find more from John over at thebourbonfinder.com. And if you're looking for more from me, I'm Jay from Whiskey Raiders. As always, we are the Rotten Tomatoes of Whiskey. Catch reviews of all of these bottles online. And thanks for joining us, guys. So cheers.
Cheers, guys.